There is a moment in life when you suddenly come to yourself and realize that being good is destroying you. It's destroying your respect, killing your time, and slowly, quietly, and without any noise, it's taking you away from yourself. You feel that change. You see that tremor before the storm, and that's exactly the part you're afraid of. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That very moment when you want to tell the truth, you want to take your right, but something locks your tongue. That very moment when you know you have to end something, but again, you choose the safe and risk-free path. That red line that you know you have to cross, but you take one more step back. Every time you do this, a piece of your being vanishes. That piece that knows you deserve more than this. That part that has become tired of pretending. Look, Niccolò Machiavelli, in his famous book, The Prince, didn't teach people how to be devils. He taught them how not to be naive anymore. Machiavelli saw the world without the glasses of optimism. He understood that power doesn't politely offer itself to those who sit nicely in a corner. Power belongs to the one who understands the game and plays it without apology. This video is about crossing that red line, the line most people see, but don't have the courage to step over. This video is about that version of you waiting on the other side of the line. The one you think about when you're alone, the one who doesn't negotiate, the one who doesn't give useless explanations, the one who just acts. You are afraid of that person, and today we want to understand why. Let me start with a strange truth. Your mind has already crossed that line right now. How many times have you won a discussion in your head that never actually happened in reality? How many times have you replayed conversations in which you said exactly what you should have said? How many times in your mind did you manage a situation perfectly, but when the real moment came, you froze? You are constantly practicing power. In your mind, you create scenarios where you are strong and firm. You set boundaries, and others respect you like a proper human being. In your mind, you move with certainty, not doubt. But when reality appears like a concrete wall in front of you, you hesitate. In your mind, you say no, but your tongue says, let's see what happens. In your mind, you say, I'll let it go, but you stay and explain. In your mind, you say, I'll stand by my word, but you give in. This distance, this deep gap between what you practice in your mind and what you do in reality, is exactly where fear nests. Machiavelli knew very well that having a powerful mindset without action has no value. Strategy without execution is just an illusion. The problem is that right now you are living in two worlds. In your thoughts you feel strong, but in action you are stuck to safety. This gives you a mental satisfaction without you paying any price. But friend, this is not power. Your mind is ahead of your body. Your thoughts have already made the move, but you still haven't shown it to anyone. And the dangerous point here is, every time you practice in your mind but act weakly in reality, you are engraving a toxic pattern in your brain. You keep telling yourself, I'm not ready yet, maybe tomorrow. But this gap is not as small as you think, it's just not visible. The moment you take even one action that is aligned with the power in your mind, everything changes. Practice turns into reality. So stop waiting to feel ready. You will never feel completely ready. Make the move, readiness will follow you. And now we come to a more bitter discussion. Your silence is ending up benefiting someone else. There are people in your life who need you to stay exactly as you are. Not because they love your eyes and eyebrows or are deeply worried about you, but because this version of you serves them. They benefit from your predictability. They benefit from you always being willing to adapt to situations. They benefit from your habit of seeing yourself as second place. They benefit from your silence when you should speak. I'm not saying they are plotting against you, no. But unconsciously, they have built the comfort of their lives on the pillar of your obedience. Machiavelli saw this pattern everywhere. He saw how power structures revolve around certain people always staying in their place and not moving. Your life works exactly the same way. Perhaps with less drama, but the mechanism is the same. That friend who only calls when they have work benefits from your availability. The one who always decides in your place benefits from you not trusting yourself. The one who mocks your ideas benefits from you doubting your own voice. When you start to change, this dynamic gets disrupted, and the people who were comfortably settled in the old structure become uneasy. Your growth threatens their balance, not because you did something bad, but because your change means they also have to change, and people hate change. This is where most people hit the brakes, feel the pressure, and think they are doing something wrong. They ask themselves, am I becoming selfish? But if Machiavelli were here, he would tell you, you are not afraid of change, you are afraid of conflict. This fear is real because conflict is uncomfortable. Being misjudged hurts, but staying small to escape this pain means choosing others, comfort at the cost of your own life. Every time you make yourself small so the benefit continues, you lose a piece of yourself. Growth has a cost, friend. Its cost is old patterns. Its cost is losing the approval of those who only loved you when you never said no. But what you gain is yourself. So if you are afraid to enter your power because you are worried about others' reactions, know this: their discomfort is not your responsibility. Adapting is their duty, growing is yours. Right now, write this sentence: my growth is the most important thing. Perhaps you ask, okay, where do I start? Look, one move changes everything. You can study power forever, read books, think. But power has no external existence until it is seen. Machiavelli understood this with his whole being. He didn't write about theory, he wrote about action. About moves that people can see with their eyes. Because if people don't see your power, it's as if you don't have it. This law applies to you too. You can have absolute clarity inside yourself, know your worth, know your boundaries, but if you never show it, nothing changes. This is where many get stuck. They build courage inside, do the mental work, but when the moment comes, they wait. They tell themselves now is not the time. They convince themselves that waiting one more day won't hurt, and months pass and they're still in the same place. Real change is like this. Power begins with one visible move. Not a complete transformation, not 10 moves, just one. A boundary you clearly set. A time you don't retreat. A moment you draw your line without explanation and leave. A time you choose yourself in front of others. This one move changes the whole game, because being seen locks in your identity. When people see you acted differently, you can no longer pretend nothing happened. You can't go back to the person who always stayed silent. You showed them who you are becoming, and more importantly, you showed yourself. That's why hesitation feels safe, because as long as you haven't made the move, you can still retreat. But when you make your power public, there is no reverse gear. The message is sent, and that is scary because it means commitment. But at the same time, it is liberating, because the fear you were carrying wasn't about the act itself. It was about whether you would really do it or not. When you do it, that doubt and hesitation vanish into thin air. The first move is always the hardest. Your heart races, your brain sounds the alarm. Every instinct pulls you toward safety. But you have to cross because the first is hard, the second is easier, and the third and fourth become natural. You realize the person you were afraid to become is not dangerous, just someone who values themselves. Don't wait for the golden moment. Make the move, then you become ready. Set the boundary, then you learn how to hold it. Say your word, then you learn how to handle reactions. Machiavelli says, It is better to act and risk failure than to do nothing and guarantee mediocrity. So what is your move? That thing you keep postponing because it will make your change visible. What is it? Do it. Do it today. Do it with fear, but do it. Now there is another big mental obstacle. Many think being decisive means being violent. This is where many stop. They think if they become more assertive, more direct, more powerful, they have to turn into a cold, soulless person. They think power equals cruelty, and because they don't want to be cruel, they remain weak. Let me be honest, this is a false dilemma. Machiavelli has a bad reputation. People say he was ruthless. They say he taught deception. But what people don't understand is, Machiavelli didn't teach cruelty, he taught control. He taught how to separate emotions from decision-making. How to act based on what is necessary, not what feels good. This is not heartlessness, this is clarity. You can be kind and at the same time have boundaries. You can care deeply and at the same time say no. You can respect someone and at the same time distance yourself if they are draining your energy. Power does not mean killing emotions. It means not letting emotions drive your decisions. Imagine this. Someone constantly crosses your red line, wastes your time, ignores your needs. If you are an emotional person, either you explode and yell, or you bottle it up and hold grudges. In both cases, emotions are controlling you. But if you are strong, you very calmly point it out. Set the boundary, decide what is right for you. This is not cruel, this is powerful. And this is where the misunderstanding happens. When you no longer let others ride you, they call you cold. When you no longer give extra explanations, they say you've changed. When you choose yourself, they accuse you of being selfish. But these are not truths. These are the voices of their discomfort. You were taught wrong. They told you being emotional means being unkind. Having standards means being harsh. But these are lies designed to keep you manageable. Real power is knowing the difference between being harsh and being clear, between being mean and being honest. Machiavelli in a famous sentence says, "A leader must be both loved and feared, but if he has to choose one, it is better to be feared." People think this means supporting dictatorship. No, he is saying, don't let your need to be loved make you weak. You can be respected without being cruel. And the vital change is here. Not everyone should have access to you. Your time, your energy, your mental space, these are valuable and you decide who deserves them. This is not selfishness, this is self-respect. If someone is destroying you, you have the right to distance yourself. If someone disrespects you, you have the right to remove them. Doing this doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you someone who values themselves. Your fear is that if you start setting boundaries, you will lose the warmth of your being and become someone you don't recognize. But that's not reality. Reality is that you become more authentic. When you no longer have to constantly bend to make others comfortable, you have space to be your real self. Kindness and power are not opposites, they are partners. You can be warm but have limits. You can be generous but protect your peace. So stop this thought that power means cruelty. Power means intelligent use of your heart. It means giving your heart to people who deserve it. Machiavelli loved control because he knew people who act purely on emotion get destroyed. You are not going to be king of a country, but you are going to be king of your own life. And if you let guilt, fear, and pleasing others make your decisions, you lose. Be alert, be clear, be kind where necessary and firm where needed. This is not cruelty, this is wisdom. But we come to the most painful part of the story. Comfort dies when you rise. This part is upsetting, but necessary. When you step into your power, you lose something. Not everything, but something specific. a kind of affection that only existed when you were small. Some people in your life care about you, but they care about the version of you that doesn't challenge them. The version that obeys, the version that is predictable. When you are no longer that person, their affection changes. Sometimes it completely disappears. And this is confusing because you didn't do anything to them. You just grew. You just valued yourself. But for them, this move is threatening because your relationship was built on you staying in a specific role, and now you flip the table. Machiavelli saw this pattern everywhere. He saw that when someone gains power, they immediately lose some allies. Not because they became cruel, because they stopped pretending. The same thing happens in your life. The person who felt important when you constantly needed them, when you become independent, loses their role. The person who felt superior when you doubted yourself, when you trust your own judgment, loses their position. And when they lose this, they pull back. This is the cost Machiavelli talks about. You cannot gain power without losing comfort, and what you leave behind is the approval of people who needed you to stay low. Now the painful part is, you miss them. Even though you know that relationship wasn't healthy, you miss that familiarity, that easy connection. And there are moments when you ask yourself, was it worth it? But you have to understand this. Affection whose condition is that you stay small is not real support. Real support adapts itself. Real support celebrates your growth. It may struggle with the change, but it doesn't punish you. If someone was only warm with you when managing you was easy, that wasn't real care. That was comfort and benefit, and losing benefit hurts, but it's not like losing something real. Machiavelli accepted this cost very early. He knew that stepping on the path of power means distancing from some comforts, yet he did it. Not because he didn't value connection, because he valued truth more. This is the choice in front of you now. You can keep that conditional affection and stay who you were, or you can step into your power and see what remains. See who adapts and who stays. Yes, some people leave. That's the truth and it hurts. But those who stay, those relationships become steel because they are built on the real you. And new people who enter your life meet the real you from the very beginning. No mask, no performance. This is the deal. You lose surface-level affection and gain real respect. The transition period is hard. There is a gap between losing the old ones and finding the new ones, a gap where you feel lonely. But this gap is not permanent. On the other side of the bridge, something better is waiting. You will find people who celebrate your power, not your flexibility. People who respect your boundaries instead of testing them. And most importantly, you find yourself. So yes, you lose a form of affection and it hurts, but what you gain is worth it. Now, what is the sign that you have reached this power? Silence becomes your filter. Real power doesn't shout, doesn't show off, doesn't need to prove anything, it just is. And one of the clearest signs is, you no longer react to everything. You start choosing where to spend your energy. Most people live in a reactive state. Something happens, they immediately respond. Someone says something, they defend. A situation arises, they get involved. It's automatic. We are wired to answer. But powerful people act differently. They pause, observe, and decide whether this is worth their energy or not. Machiavelli understood this completely. He saw leaders who tried to answer every criticism, every rumor, every challenge, and how they destroyed themselves. But those who lasted were selective. They knew which battles mattered and which were just noise. This is the change you must make. Stop the habit of treating every opinion, every situation, every remark as if they are equal in value. They are not. Some things deserve your full attention, most deserve nothing. not because you are inattentive, because getting involved is not in your interest. Imagine someone criticizes you, says something that gets under your skin. The old version of you would quickly react, defend, explain to prove they are wrong. But the powerful you pauses. You ask yourself, does this person's opinion really matter? Is this worth my energy? And most of the time, the answer is no. So you don't respond. Not out of fear, not because you have no answer, but because you choose not to give one. This is silence. This is power. When you don't react, control stays with you. You don't hand over your peace with both hands to someone else. You observe, evaluate, choose. This applies to everything. Situations you don't want to be in, conversations that don't serve you, dramas that have nothing to do with you. You start filtering. You ask, does this align with who I am becoming? If the answer is no, you let it pass. You don't get involved, you don't explain, you just move on. Machiavelli has a famous metaphor. The powerful person must be a combination of lion and fox. The strength of the lion for battle, the intelligence of the fox to detect traps. The fox's intelligence tells you when to stay silent. When you live like this, people notice. They realize you are no longer easily provoked. Some respect you for it, but some test you harder. They push your buttons to see if you break. And that's where you truly prove yourself. Staying calm when someone deliberately tries to anger you, that is high-level power. You don't explain, you don't justify, you stay in your position and let them exhaust themselves. In the end, they stop because they get no reward. That's when you realize you have changed. When you are no longer controlled by external triggers, when your energy belongs to you to give, not to them to take. This doesn't mean you became cold. It means you no longer waste yourself on worthless things to save your energy for valuable ones. Your life becomes quieter, not because fewer things happen, because you no longer pay attention to noise. You act with precise, purposeful selection, and this is the face of real power. And now we reach the final piece of the puzzle that everything depends on. Commitment kills fear. Everything we said, mental exercises, others, resistance, visible moves, fear of seeming cruel, losing affection, the filter of silence, all of it boils down to one thing: decision. The decision to become that person you are afraid of. Because the truth is, fear only lives in indecision. As long as one foot is on this side of the line and one on the other, as long as you are weighing but not committing, fear grows. Every day it whispers in your ear, shows you the worst scenarios, keeps you trapped in that gap between who you are and who you can be. And that gap, that is the home of anxiety. That is where self-doubt grows, because you are neither fully here nor fully there. And staying in limbo is the hardest place in the world. Machiavelli understood this. He was a supporter of decisive identity. He said, half measures are doomed to fail. If you try to be both the old version and the new version at the same time, you only get confused. You doubt every move. But the moment you commit, the moment you fully decide, fear turns to smoke and disappears. Not that danger vanishes, uncertainty vanishes. You no longer ask yourself, should I do it? Because you did it. When you fully commit, something inside you changes. You no longer fight yourself. You become calm, clear, focused, because you are no longer in two pieces, you are whole. People don't understand this about fear. They think fear is about the outcome, but fear is about the decision. About that moment when you stop analyzing and act. Yes, that moment is intense, but it is liberating. Machiavelli says, it is better to be bold and fail than to be fearful and constantly say, I wish. Because even if you step into your power and mess up, at least you got the answer. But if you stay in indecision, you never find out, you just regret. So this is what you must do. Stop this half-living. Stop testing. Fully commit. Decide that you are becoming that person you fear, and then behave like that person. Set the boundary, make the move, leave, say your word. Choose yourself. Do it once, but do it completely and don't look back. Because the moment you do this, fear loses its power. Uncertainty disappears, and that person you were afraid to become, you see that it was just you. And when you live that way, you realize it wasn't as scary as you thought. This is the final piece, commitment. Without this, none of the previous words matter. You must decide, and you must decide fully. Half change brings anxiety. Full commitment brings peace. So what are you going to do? Do you want to stay in that valley, wondering what will happen? Or do you want to cross the line, fully commit, and find out what happens? You are afraid because becoming that person means the end of bargaining. It means no more giving second chances to things that don't deserve them. No more endless explanations to people who don't listen. No more shrinking for others' comfort. That person you are afraid to become is finally someone who chooses themselves. And when you do that, there is no way back. You can't return to the life where everyone was a priority except you. That door closes, and it must close because on the other side is the version of you that has been waiting. Someone who doesn't apologize for existing. Someone who moves with intention and purpose, not fear. Someone who understands that real power is not about controlling others. It is about not letting others control you. Machiavelli didn't write about being a devil. He wrote about reality. About seeing the world as it is. And the reality is, until now you played small because it felt safe, but it no longer protects you, it limits you. And deep down you know this. That's why you are here. That's why these words affect you, because you are close. You are exactly at the edge of the cliff, and the only thing you need to do is take the step. So take the step. Become that person you are afraid of. Not because that person is perfect, not because they know everything, but because that person chooses themselves. And this choice changes everything. If this video spoke to your heart, smash that like button right now. Send it to someone you know needs to hear this message. And subscribe to the channel. But friend, there is one more reality you need to know. This video reaching you is itself a battle. Every day we are fighting a hornless, tailless monster called the internet. Uploading this very file, crossing the internet barriers, constant disconnections. It takes energy you might not even imagine. If you want this flow to continue, now it's your turn to make a move. Don't let the restrictions win. My regards.